Well, welcome to GTC's Teaching Tidbits Blackboard Ultra. In this series, each episode we explore techniques, tips, practices, ideas to expand your knowledge of and your comfort with using Blackboard Ultra. I'm joined again by April Akins from the Curriculum and Instructional Support Center, CISC for short. Welcome, April, and good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
As always, I always look forward to this because I am learning along with those who are watching what is coming and what are the new little updates. Again, because we've discovered it's no secret Blackboard Ultra updates monthly, which is wonderful, but also means we've got to keep up with what are those new things that are showing up. So we're providing a look or a preview at some of the most important things that are coming up in the next month. And the beginning of July is fast approaching. So April is here with a look at the updates that are coming for July 2025. So April, I am going to turn it over to you to share your tidbits.
And thanks, Rachel. So already a cute kitten on the page, I think, makes a big difference in how you're going to take these updates this time. So there's only a few because we are also approaching the annual conference, which means they're going to show out some really exciting new things. And so basically stay tuned for the teaching tidbits that's coming up in August with a lot of new things happening. So keeping it kind of short and sweet today. The first one I want to talk about is announcements. So we put these announcements out. We never know if the students are actually viewing them or paying attention to them. So they are adding a viewer details section to your announcements. So I took a couple of screenshots here. First, you'll see this is where you would have your list of announcements. They've now added this column that says viewers, and you can see in this example, 4 out of 11 have actually viewed that. So if you click on the number here, or if you click in the announcement, you're then going to get a summary of your viewers. So you can see this first student here has read it. It will say unread in the status if they have not read that particular announcement. So that's a quick update to see, okay, did all my students access the announcement and know what's going on, like classes are canceled or we're moving a classroom today for whatever reason, that type of information. It's always helpful. So, and you can kind of see here on the bar, it'll show up here. It'll be purple all the way across if everybody has actually read the announcement. So that's a quick update that I think is very useful for us to have that as an instructor. Another update is when you're building documents and you input some sort of image, you are now able to put a caption with that. So alt text is great for those who are using screen readers, but you may also want a caption to kind of give more detail about what that image is. So when you upload the file, you can change the display name. Now you can add your image caption. So they've included that caption there. And then it also lets you choose, do you want it to appear above the image or below the image? There's a couple options there that you can select as you work through that. But then that just gives a little bit more context to that image on the page as to why it was placed there. And then there's 2 more updates that I will say I'm wanting to see what's going to actually happen with them because we discussed it this week in office hours, and some of the things that were talked about, there may be some tweaks to it. The first one is the gradebook items. You can now put items in a no category option. So like you put in assignments, you put it in as a test or an exam, whatever your category is. Those things that you don't need to actually calculate into the grade and you want to place it in a no category, you can do that. You can also put it in a no category because it doesn't fit the others. It's like your final exam or a midterm exam and that has its own calculation. You can mark it in a no category and then choose the actual percentage that it would calculate into the full overall grade. But they're tweaking some of that language, so I don't want to kind of show what's there right now because I feel like that's going to change before it actually goes live. And then the other piece is, I know they've been working on this pop-out rubric. You get some options now when you hit the save. It kind of reminds you, did you save, did you not? If you close out of it, there's now going to be a pop-up message that says, make sure that you really do want to close out and hit the save button before you close out of it. So that's just a little change. And then there's some other kind of just enhancements as we move along with the layout and things like that. So that I think is pretty self-explanatory when you see those. But these are the 2 major highlights that I wanted to to point out that I think are going to be some great uses coming up in the next couple of months. So that's all I have. As always, if there's some minor ones, I definitely put those on the LibGuide, so check those out under the Blackboard updates. That kind of circles around, let you know what has changed. If you're trying to find a button and it wasn't in the same place, you might want to go there and check to see where it's moved to. So that's all I've got for today, Rachel.
Awesome. That's great, April. Thank you so much. That announcements, that added feature for the announcements, I can see being helpful in a variety of different ways, even if instructors are wanting to try a different format in their announcements to see if that gauges more interaction and engagement. I love that you mentioned kind of last minute changes and knowing who saw it and who didn't in case you need to try to reach out to those students. So, and I will say you mentioned the cat. That was exactly where my eyes went as soon as your screen came up. Nothing like having a cute little cat just to look at as well. But that's a great addition too. Again, they're always expanding these features and expanding what we can do to have that caption with an image to just further enhance and connect it to why it is there in the learning process. And for those of you who may have missed the episode, one of our past episodes did talk about the pop-out rubrics. So we recorded that this spring, so it's only a few episodes back. You can look in the descriptions of each episode and you'll see a list of subjects. So if you want to pop back to a previous episode to look at a little more detail regarding the release of those pop-out rubrics, you can find those there. And then, as April mentioned, if you want to continue the conversation, of course, CISC always welcomes you to reach out to them to share any questions, comments, feedback, etc. that you have. So I've put April and Rebecca's contact information on the screen here. They are our two primary Blackboard go-tos here. Of course, anyone in CISC is well versed in Blackboard, but April and Rebecca are kind of leading the way here. So april.akins@gvltec.edu and rebecca.roth@gvltec.edu. Of course, one of the best ways to make sure you get connected with the person in CISC to best help you with your question, your challenge, your feedback is to submit a support ticket. And you can find the link to the support ticket in the description below this video, as well as a link to CISC's LibGuide, where they do a great job of providing a lot of additional resources. April mentioned it. The link is also in the description below this video. Well, thank you so much, April, for joining me and sharing a look at what's to come. I know that as we had discussed, Blackboard has, or Anthology, I guess you could say, has some things that they're kind of holding tightly, getting ready to do a big reveal at the conference. And so I'm sure when we record August's episode, there will be some exciting things coming, and so we'll just have to wait, hold our breaths and wait in anticipation to see what they reveal. And we will share that in next month's episode so that you get all the details, or all the essential details there. So thank you, April, for joining me and sharing those tidbits. That is our teaching tidbit for this episode of Blackboard Ultra, and we will see you next time.